I'd like to share with you a brand new release from Oris. And you guys know me, I love Oris. I've reviewed many Oris watches over the years, and I've owned many Oris watches over the years. I think this is a great brand. They're independently owned. They're operated in the German-speaking region of Switzerland, and they offer a good mix of retro designs and contemporary designs. The Aquis is definitely a contemporary design that I think is very strong. And I'm on record in many videos talking about how I appreciate the angular original design here, how Oris blends the circular form with the rectilinear, and how there is some real substance and strength to this design. It's more than just being original. It's more than that. It doesn't take much to come out with something unique and different just for the sake of being different. Maybe it's bold, maybe it's loud, maybe it's too out there, and it doesn't connect. It doesn't work. But with Oris, with the Aquis, I really think they've done a great job in creating a contemporary design that works, that resonates, that has substance. And you look at this color, you look at this blue, and really, it's beautiful. It is bright and vibrant and carries a little bit of teal in it, carries a little hint of green, and so it really pops. It looks great with the sunray, the fume, how the ceramic bezel insert matches that more muted, darker shade of blue found on the circumference of the dial. I like the applied, faceted, polished markers and how they work with the lugs of the design and the handset. Again, blending the rectilinear with the circular and doing it to a very talented degree. I like this. Again, you might be picking up on my tone here. I love the Aquis. I like Oris. I respect this brand. But at the same time, this brand has definite areas for improvement that in future releases could be and should be addressed. And so I'm not going to shy away from talking about the controversial elements or the areas for improvement. I would like to highlight this watch, give it its props, give it, some flowers here on the channel, but at the same time be realistic and not just overly sappy and saturated with praise. So let's continue with the review. This is a brand new release. Again, the Caliber 400, the in-house movement in the smaller 41.5 millimeter size. I like the 43. I think it's a great watch. I've owned multiple Oris at that size, but the more I see the 41.5, the more I enjoy the proportion and the fit. This carries a 48 millimeter lug to lug dimension, 13.5 from the back of the crystal on the case back to the top of the domed sapphire crystal on the top of the watch. And then we have a dramatic taper of 8 millimeter from these 24 millimeter angular lugs that protrude from the circular case down to 16 millimeter at the clasp that carries a double push button deployant fully milled with a signature, 3 different micro adjust anchoring points here, and then lovely teardrop shaped links that carry a brushed satin finish on the center link with very thin, high polished flanking outer links. It looks great. Again, full articulation, great light play, great drape. And what's new with the in-house Caliber 400 Aquis, the bracelets carry a quick release system that is really intuitive, very easy to operate. So you can take off the bracelet and put it on, an OEM original equipment manufacturer rubber strap. You don't need a tool. I think that's a good thing. It illustrates the fact that Oris, they really value input. They listen to the watch enthusiast community. And when they're developing their in-house movement, they go, okay, what do the watch enthusiasts want? What do the most enthusiastic of our consumer base, really, what would they like to see in a movement? And they did their homework. We value accuracy. We value high power reserve. We really value the anti-magnetic properties of a mechanical movement. We like a long service interval. We like the smooth tactile element of winding and interacting with the crown. We like those things. And so when they developed the in-house movement, they addressed every single one of those points. And then when they released the 400 in the 43 millimeter size, they listened to the community that said, you know what? We want this in more colors. We want it in the smaller size. And now we have a blue, an anthracite, and a green dial variation coming out again this month, June of 2021, in the 41.5 millimeter size. So I like the fact that Oris really seems to listen and value what we as watch enthusiasts would like to see from them. Are they perfect in doing it? No, I don't think they are. But you know what, more on that in a minute. Let's continue with the review. We talked dimensions. Let's talk about this movement. I mentioned they're listening to us. This carries the tech specs. It carries the features that we enjoy. So we have an accuracy window of -3 seconds to +5 seconds per day, which a lot of you will recognize as a little bit tighter than COSC levels of accuracy, which is -4 to +6 seconds per day. This is regulated in 5 different positions. We have 21 joules. We have a beat rate of 28,800 beats per hour or 4 hertz. We have a 120-hour power reserve, which is really impressive. That's 5 days of power reserve held in twin barrels. So each barrel will roughly hold 2.5 days of power for the movement. And if we step back and visually look at the movement, you guys can see with the shape of the barrels, with the placement of the joules, with the skeletonized rotor, we really get the form of their mascot, their icon, the bear in the movement. And I think that's a fun little Easter egg. Continuing here, we have an anti-magnetic threshold of 2,250 Gauss, which is a very high amount. Likely you will never get close to that in civilian life in the various scenarios that you will find yourself in. So I like the anti-magnetic properties. There will be 30 separate anti-magnetic components within the movement, including a silicon escapement, which you guys can see here in this macro shot. Now this watch will carry a 10-year service interval and a 10-year warranty, which is industry leading at the moment. We have 210 full revolutions needed when you're winding the crown to get a full wind in the movement and get that full 5 days of power reserve, which I have personally tested. And the result that I got, this movement will go 123 hours before running out of juice entirely. So very impressive, smooth winding. I like the movement, but here's the controversial element that Oris has yet to address to the watch enthusiast community's satisfaction, and that is the hacking, I guess you could say, issue or flaw when it comes to hacking the balance. So you unthread the crown, the screw down crown, the signed crown, you pull it out to the last position, you hack the balance, and sometimes that minute hand will bump, it will jump, which really isn't a big deal most of the time unless your movement runs fast and you just want to hack the balance and let the correct time catch up to you and then push it in and synchronize your watch to the proper atomic time. So that can be annoying, but here's the really annoying part. When you pull it out and you adjust the time, you're ready to synchronize, and then you push the crown in, not every time, but sometimes that minute hand will jump, it will bump upwards of a couple minutes, up to 5 minutes, which can be very, very annoying. You're no longer synchronized, which was the whole point of hacking the balance and adjusting the time. Again, it doesn't happen every time, but it does happen sometimes. And Oris says that is a quirk or an element of having twin barrel architecture. And when the Caliber 400 came out, a lot of us in the community were almost offended by this. We were very upset and said that the Caliber 400 had a fatal flaw. It was unusable. You could never use this movement. You could never get the right time. Really, we were being a bit dramatic, and I was being a bit dramatic. I added to that drama there in the videos that I did, and I try to take a step back, and look at the big picture and realize, hey, am I just being a crazy, crabby, unrealistic watch enthusiast, or is this a significant flaw that will hold back this brand? And the more I've thought about it, the more I've experienced the Caliber 400 in multiple watches, the more I've come to the realization that, yes, it's annoying, but no, it's not a deal breaker. What you'll need to do when you set the time, it's very simple. It's called the Overshoot Method. You move the minute hand 5 minutes past the exact time that you're going for, and then you backtrack, you backplay, and then you get it on the right minute. You take that minute hand and you line it up to the minute you're trying to synchronize to. And then when the seconds hand catches up, the atomic time, and you synchronize, you push the crown in, you get that balance oscillating again, you will not have a bump, you will not have a jump, and it never fails to disappoint. It works perfectly every time is what I'm trying to say. So it adds an extra maybe 4, 5, 6 seconds to the time it takes you to set the time. So you step back and you think, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's annoying, but it's not a big deal. And it's not going to hold me back from purchasing an in-house movement from this brand that I really respect in the future. So just to reiterate here, great movement, great design. I like the fact that Oris listens to the watch enthusiast community, and they're coming out with the in-house movement in other colors, other models, other sizes. I think that's a great thing. Again, I can't emphasize enough the value of a good original design, satisfying integrated bracelet, lovely color play, lovely light play, good low light luminescence. I think this carries some serious value for money when you're looking at the movement and the warranty, the accuracy, the anti-magnetic properties, the power reserve, everything that goes into this. Then I look at the price and I go, yeah, this is very powerful. There is a reason why I recommend the Aquis to many people that reach out to me and say, Bruce, I've got $2,000 or I've got $3,000. What watches should I be considering in your experience? This is always one that I like to recommend because I do enjoy it personally. I am a little bit biased, but hopefully in this video you felt like I've given this watch a fair shake. I'm going to close with 2 things that I think Oris could improve for a better Aquis in the future. The first thing is to maybe lose the dive extension in the clasp and add a tool-free micro adjustment system. That is the norm these days. That's what we really value as watch enthusiasts. And again, Oris has shown a history of listening to the watch enthusiast community. So I have hope that they will do that sooner rather than later. I think that would enhance the day-to-day practicality and wearability of this great design. The next thing is put better anti-reflective treatment on this domed sapphire crystal. Right now, it's currently only on the underside of the crystal, and it doesn't do a great job. In certain lights, you can really see some crisp, defined reflections that can become distracting and impede the at-a-glance legibility of the watch. And so I like to see multiple layers on the underside, maybe a layer on the top, and really sweeten that anti-reflective treatment. So I can see a little bit of blue iridescent sheen, and I can see the lovely sunray and fume and applied markers, dimensional white printing. I can see the color play and the dial details to a higher degree of clarity. I think that would be great. Now, last point here. Like I've mentioned in many videos, this hobby is emotional and it's not logical and it's completely subjective. So you might be looking at this review, this presentation, and going, Bruce, you're crazy. You've lost it. I don't identify with what you're saying. Or you could be listening to me, looking at the macro and going, yes, Bruce, I completely get what you're saying. I feel the same way. At the end of the day, we're in this hobby because we love watches and we want to love our experience with our watch. And at least for me, the Aquis, it hits the sweet spots in terms of design, comfort, practicality. The movement's great. I look at this and sometimes, I go to gauge the time on my wrist and I get lost in the beauty. I get lost in the color play. I look at that vivid blue. I look at the fume and the sun ray, and I see the comfort of the bracelet, and I admire the accuracy, and I go, oh, I need to check the time, actually. It's about that connection. And so I have that here with the Aquis. I think it's great. And hopefully you guys have felt like I've given this a fair presentation, highlighted the good, talked about the negative elements and the areas for improvement, and that I've been fair here and not, hopefully not too biased. So thank you very much for watching today. Please let me know if you have any particular questions. I would be happy to try to elaborate on anything I didn't convey very clearly, or maybe I can give you a further dimension that I didn't list, something like that. Let me know if you have any questions. And thank you very much to Oris specifically for lending in this new release and allowing me some time with this very exciting release. Joanne, you've been excellent to work with, so thank you very much. So that concludes the presentation. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys next time.